Hello class, I want to welcome you to week 3, and I want to say that you're doing great work. Many have dropped. One student actually plagiarized. It was very obvious. I tried getting him to talk to me, and the student dropped the class, and it saddens me. I don't want to see people drop, and I don't want to see people plagiarize, so please don't plagiarize or drop, okay? I'm here to help you with all I can. We're going to be going over Greece, and what we've been going over before in our topics are less obvious influences on Western civilization, from Africa to the Middle East. That's many in the West don't actually think about those places being important to our civilization. When it comes to Greece, now we're immediately walking into the more obvious set of influences on Western civilization. We use so much of our vocabulary, especially on a college level, in college, is based on Greek language. And we talk about democracy, rule by the people, Greek word. We talk about theology. In Greek, God is theos, study of God, right? Psyche, or psyche, psychology, study of the self, right? Okay. So all of our sciences are based on words that come directly from Greek, and are kind of modeled in some way on Greek philosophy and Greek ideas that just we can trace and see very immediately. Okay, so a very important section for understanding Western civilization in a much more, like I said, direct and immediate way. Okay, and I think that you will really enjoy that and see and make those connections very fast if you haven't already studied this topic before. And then last, I just want to say something. We covered the topic of war, a grim topic. And I appreciated a lot of the discussions that I saw. Many of my students are Assyrian, many of my students are Christian, and these passages weren't necessarily ones that made Assyrians or Christians look good. And by the way, most Assyrians are Christian as well. For my Jewish friends and students, also these passages have been a little discomforting. Here's what I want to point out. I think that we just need to remind ourselves that all civilizations have come out of war for the most part. And as a person who teaches world history, I think that certain groups have been seen as more violent than others, but I'm not really sure of that at this point of my life. I've even seen a lot of violence come out of Buddhist civilization, and Buddhism is more overtly passive in its ideology. The doctrines of Christ didn't stop people from Christian majority nations from inventing a nuclear bomb and using one, right? Or not having slavery or genocides. And at the same time, those same ideologies have been used to make people stop doing genocide, stop doing slavery. I just think that we should reflect on the fact that all societies, religious traditions, we decide what we think is the authentic way to do things and what is right. But we should also realize that works for other people. I'm named after a military general and a warrior of the Bible, and I was named after a very violent warrior in the Bible, Joshua, is my first name, by pacifist Christian parents. They were pacifists. They were started off as hippies and pacifists there, and then they became Christian pacifists. But they still believed in these texts, these war texts, as holy texts. Now that's a complex theology that I'm not going to go into. But I know Muslims that are pacifist. And I think this is what I wanted to point out to you. The Quran, like the Christian Bible, you have Muslim scholars that point out there are time-specific battles that took place, but they're not very obvious when you read the Quran. that are not considered universal. In other words, a passage that was dealing with a battle that Muhammad and his followers were fighting against other tribes in Arabia at the time. And some of those passages look as if there is some sort of extra violent nature to the Quran. But many Muslim scholars will say these are time specific and other things are universal. Isn't that what Christianity does, right? Almost every Christian that read this book of Numbers said that's not something that Christians would do now, even in the military as Christian soldiers. You have that same kind of theological reasoning within the Quranic tradition of scholarship. And I just want you to be aware of that. And the Quran also, the Hadith, there's a saying of the Prophet Muhammad that women and children shouldn't be killed in war. But we see that happen regardless. What we see is that many people don't follow their holy books, or they do follow their holy books in different ways. And I just wanted to point out that Christianity and Islam, ancient Assyria, ancient Japan, ancient China, we all have to kind of confront some ugliness at times that we have to try to come to terms with now. And realize that I don't think that there really is a civilization that's that much different at its core, because humans are not that much different when it comes to what we do to survive. Last thing I just want to say is that many were also saying that this doesn't seem to reflect much of what happens in modern warfare. I wish that was true. I'm not a person who's had the tragedy of having to live through a war. I have not fought as a soldier. I have not suffered through one. Some of our students have fought in wars and had to deal with that and are dealing with that now. And some of our students have also had to live through wars and are dealing with that now. I think we as Americans are grotesquely shielded from that, and I say this many, many times. And I say this because I think we need to keep hearing it, that there's something wrong to me that we are involved in so many wars as a nation state, have so many U.S. soldiers involved in wars, and the American public literally just does not get it, and then thinks that war is like a video game, or that people can actually win battles in some sort of clean-cut way. And there's a reason why one should be skeptical. It's not anti-military or anti-your government to be skeptical of them. I'm not a pacifist like I was raised now, but I've learned that skepticism, I think, that is valuable. And it's valuable for the sake of our dignity and humanity for our soldiers and for the people who are also going to be in direct contact with them, and ask ourselves these important moral questions. Now, that is me, your professor, pontificating a little bit of my own views, but I hope it's not seen as inappropriate. We are living in crazy times, and the idea of Western civilization is now in context to what it means to other civilizations, and we are in literal direct conflict, and we have a question of whether or not that our society and Muslims, let's say, can actually cohabit peacefully. Now, I argue that we can. I argue that we already are. But that's something you'll have to decide. I want to just point out that I have history on my side. I have current and I have past history. And I also know that it can get very ugly. So I think that we have choices that we can make. And I think we can make the right choice, right? And so that's just my thought for this week. I hope you enjoy what you're about ready to learn. Please contact me if you have any needs or problems and questions. Even if you want to debate with me a little bit, that's always good. It's healthy for both of our souls. Somebody might just text me right now. Peace and blessings be upon you all. All right.